All right, we are live. What's going on, T-Shirt Millionaires? I'm Charles Smith III, the host of the T-Shirt Millionaires live show, and today we have an amazing guest. I know that this is going to be extremely valuable for all the shirtpreneurs, all the T-shirt brand owners that are in our family. We have Alex Beller. He is the president and co-founder of Postscript. And so if you've never heard of Postscript, you need to make sure that you stay through this entire conversation. I'm going to tell you personally, myself, I've made a nice chunk of money selling t-shirts using Postscript. And so text message, this is the wave. This is the, future of e-commerce. Being able to get back in contact with your customer easily through text is amazing. And so we're going to talk about all the ins and outs today. And I really look forward to having this conversation with Alex. As I always say, it's going to be inspirational and informational as well. So as we always do, I'm going to go ahead and hit this video, and then we're going to go in and have a great conversation with Alex. All right, T-Shirt Millionaires, what's going on? I'm Charles Smith III, the host of the T-Shirt Millionaires live show, and today we have Alex Beller. Alex, how you doing today, bro? How you doing, man?
Charles, I'm great. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited. We're gonna have a good show.
I love it. No, man, I know that it's gonna be extremely valuable, and I'm happy to have this conversation as well. Like we were talking right before the call, we were introduced by one of my mastermind students. April Showers, owner of Afro Unicorn. So big shout out to her for making the connection. And I know the whole T-Shirt Millionaires tribe is going to be excited to hear from you today. First off, I just got to mention this, bro. This is T-Shirt Millionaires. So I love the T-shirts you got going on, man. Did y'all design that Postscript? Don't call, hey, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you brand your company. Who made that shirt, man?
Dude, I had to represent because we're a text company and we work with e-com entrepreneurs. So what that means is we need great swag and we need emojis.
Yeah,
we need emojis all over the place. So I had to wear it for you. Our team made this shirt with a company called Manhead Merch.
Okay,
but all of everyone watching right now should maybe after the interview, I don't know, they should head over to shop.postscript.io.
Yeah.
For our customers and for the e-commerce community, we give these away for free. So if you're looking for some Postscript swag, go to shop.postscript.io. You can get a shirt, you can get a pair of shorts, rock it out. We love that.
Yo, so y'all make sure y'all go ahead and put that in shop.postscript.io. Alex says he got a gift over there for y'all. So that's dope, bro. I appreciate it. That's dope. I love it. So look, man, who are you and what do you do? Who is Alex Beller and what is Postscript?
Oh man, the hard question off the bat. Okay, so I'm Alex Beller. I am the co-founder of Postscript.io, and what Postscript is a text message marketing platform for brands and entrepreneurs building their business on Shopify. That's it. So we make it super, super easy for any marketer or any entrepreneur to text their customers in a way that's not annoying and in a way that makes a lot of money.
Right.
And that's what we do. And before this, I was building and starting e-commerce businesses myself. So I've been on the other side and now I'm on the tech side, but e-commerce is my space, man. I love it. It's so fun. The people are good. So that's me.
I love it, man. Well, no, I appreciate you for creating this solution. And we're going to dive deep into that. But I want to get a little bit of your backstory. So you said that you were in e-commerce on your own. When did that happen? When were you doing it? You were deep into it? And what type of brands or stores or what did you have? What were you doing? What were you selling?
All right. I'm gonna share the real stuff. So
there we go.
do we curse on here? Do we keep it clean?
You got whatever you want to do, man.
All right, let's do the real shit. So I born and raised in Phoenix, went to school in LA and I dropped out. I was struggling. I thought that I was a relatively smart person that could get by, man.
Yeah.
could not cut it in class.
Right.
It was not going well. The grades were disaster. And I dropped out and I started working at a really small e-commerce company called Stack Social. And it sells like discounted tech products. It was like a flash sale site for tech. And what we did in that business, I was like 21 when I joined, and there was like 6 or 7 of us. And what we did is we started partnering with blogs, and we would build stores for these blogs. So the blogs got all the traffic. They would refer their readers. So like we would work with like Apple and Mac fanboy blogs, and we would build them branded stores, and we would sell like Apple and Mac accessories.
Oh, nice.
Or eventually we would work with like people like Mashable, and we would sell all kinds of like different like tech and like lifestyle products.
Right.
And it was interesting because I spent 5 years there, and I learned all about e-com, where like learn just about how like to generate traffic and how to like find an offer that's converting, and how you want to like just living in Google Analytics and like focusing on like trying to push all your traffic towards whatever product has like the highest conversion rate. And so that was really where I like cut my teeth in e-commerce, and it was awesome. It wasn't my business, but I got to learn so much. We would stand up all these different stores, and one day, one of the people I worked with, who's now my partner, Adam, we were talking about how like email performance was it was like plateauing. It wasn't growing anymore. Especially open and click rates had started to come down.
Right.
And at the same time, more and more traffic every single year was on mobile, right? People were on their phones.
Yeah.
And we were like, what is the email for the phone? Like email, like what is it?
Yeah.
And we also had a friend running a business on Shopify who was complaining to us that he didn't have a way to text his customers. This is 3 years ago. Right. So everything kind of clicked together, and we said, okay, let's like build a really easy way for brands and entrepreneurs on Shopify to text their customers.
Right.
And we weren't in Shopify. We didn't know anything. We didn't know anything about it.
Right.
We were really naive, but we launched this app, and it took a couple months of development and like working on that. But we threw up this app, and right away people came in and used it. Like the first week we had like 2 customers, and the next week we had like 6, and the month after we had like 10, and people were paying us $50, $200, $400 a month to send texts. And we were like, what is even happening right now?
Just like, stumbled across something like gold.
We thought this was going to be a tiny little side project. Like maybe a few people would use this. Maybe we would each be able to make a couple $1,000 a month. And really quickly, it became clear that like, no, this is a huge opportunity. It's really early, but SMS is eventually going to become like mainstream, and we can build a real dedicated business to serving these entrepreneurs and these brands, because text marketing is like 5 years from now, text marketing is going to be huge and everywhere. It's still early days, but like building a really simple and really powerful tool for it that just focuses on Shopify is like a very long-term mission. So now we're 3 years in. The company's 130 people. We've grown a ton. We work with about 5,000 brands.
Wow.
And we're like, we love this mission. We like obsess about our customers. We're having a ton of fun, and we're just helping people make more money each month. It's a really good thing.
Right. No, I love it, bro. I mean, I love, the whole transition of, first off, you talked about partnering with these like blogs or, people who have like these niche markets and building stores for them. I just think that whole space is amazing, right? Just, people, they might not be monetizing, and you provided a way for them to monetize. So to me, a lot of the times we talk about on T-Shirt Millionaires is like build an audience first and then sell to them. And so that seems like it fits in right with what y'all were doing. Now, you moved over and you talked about like building this app. That's like super ambitious. Like y'all got Postscript, you got all these customers now. Like, bro, like from you not even knowing about Shopify, like, did you have tech experience before that? Like how big was that at that time?
So I'm really lucky in that, like, in how this came about. And in looking back, is very random. But so what happened is I am not like a technical person. I'm not a coder. Right. But my 2 partners are. And so they had experience doing that, and we all had experience in e-commerce. So we like altogether we like had the right skills to like stand this first version up.
Nice.
And I want to be clear, the first version was pretty broke and basic. Like there were bugs all the time, like, all kinds of weird issues. But it's like slowly just like professionalized and like stood up. But it's been a journey. Like I had experience in tech. The company I was working at was a tech company, but it was e-commerce tech, that like the blog monetization business I was telling you about. But this whole thing has been a learning process. Like you relate to this, like now the company is much more built out. That's great, but even so, like I'm still learning every single day and I'm still making mistakes, big ones every single week. And so like what's been huge for us from the beginning is just embracing that. All three of us and my two partners, Adam and Colin, they're especially good at this. Like embracing that when you're building a business, like things are going to be broken at every single stage and every single scale. And it's like constant compromise. And though, of course, that like stresses me out a ton, a lot. Like in truth, like embracing that and embracing the realities of that and being like, no, you know what? Like things are slowly going to get better and then we're going to make new mistakes and then new stuff's going to break. Like that has been what's gotten us here more than anything, is like focus on just doing one thing. We only do SMS. We want to do the best at it. We only do Shopify. We want to do the best at it. And then having a mindset that's like, yeah, things are going to go wrong and we'll figure them out.
Right. Well, you know what? I think just that whole everything that you just said is a lot of wisdom for, everybody in the audience. Because to see that you've built this company, it's growing, you're serving a lot of people. Like you said, every stage of your process, there's always going to be stuff that comes up, right? And so I think, sometimes, especially at the very beginning, people will look on the outlook of everybody's company and say, is there going to be a chance, like, do they have it? They're perfect. They got it all together, right? And it's not always the truth, right? You just work through it and you stay persistent. And I think that's a big part of entrepreneurship. So I appreciate you sharing that wisdom with us. I think that's valuable for a lot of people, for sure. Cool, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, as I think back, like, I mean, things have gone wrong. And like, I so agree with what you just said, where like, it's so easy to look at someone else's business and it looks like smooth sailing. But I think the more and more entrepreneurs I've met and the more like e-commerce owners I speak to, like everyone's is kind of a shit show. And like at all the different stages, that's good. It means we're all in it together, but it also like, I remind myself about that a lot.
Yeah. That's powerful. I think everybody needs to pick up that gem and use it. I think that is something to keep in mind. So if you don't got your stuff all together, and even if you got it together, you got mishaps, don't trip, keep pushing. So I think that's valuable, bro. So let's go to this, man. You talked about the decline of email, right? And we talked about open rates declining. Tell me a little more about that. Give me an idea of, what you have seen, what are the trends that you have seen over time with email to make it, it's still a great channel, but maybe not as viable as it used to be.
Yeah. So I'm not the text guy that's like email's dead. Email's super important. Like everyone, I bet every one of like your mastermind members ever on this live stream, like should be doing email for sure.
Right.
Easy money.
Right.
But I think what's happening is like email's been around for 25 years.
Right.
And that entire time, open rates and click rates have been coming down.
Right.
And, now folks see, maybe 15 to 20% open rates, maybe 1 to 2% click rates on marketing messages. And there's still a ton of money to be made there. But what's happening is twofold. One is that just like inboxes are overflowed, right? Like I'm on hundreds of email lists. I don't open everything anymore. And second, inboxes are flowing. And also we're on our phones.
Right.
Like we aren't personally communicating with email nearly as much as we were 10 years ago.
Right.
And so there's these like macro trends happening. And as we look forward, right, I don't think email's going away. It's not, but it's these early days of SMS, right? Where text is how we all talk to each other the majority of the time. And so, and there's ways to do it that like aren't overly intrusive or aren't annoying when you're marketing to your customers. And so what that means is like, as I think about like life cycles of tech, Like email's been around for 25 years, but it's kind of slowing down.
Right.
And like text has been around for a couple years, but it's really just getting started. Text is going to be around and a huge channel over the next like 10, 15 years.
Right.
And the brands who are early to it and the people who focus on like building up that list now are just going to be way ahead of everyone else for the next couple of years, especially because what we're seeing, and this is really interesting, we're seeing that like consumers, they aren't as comfortable subscribing to text as they are to email. So like I'm on 150, 300 email lists. Right?
Yeah, you're right.
I'm only going to subscribe to like the 10 brands I actually think are dope.
Right.
So what that means though, is that like people who get on this early and build their list up really aggressively, they're going to be the ones who like win and have this advantage in SMS because they're going to have the list. They're going to have the opt-ins. Right. So it's early days, but we're seeing this channel where on text, I mean, it's getting 95 to 97% open rates. Click rates will be anywhere from 5% to 35% just based on what your marketing is.
Right.
And the other magic thing, if you look even past marketing that we talk a lot about, is like actually engaging with people.
Right.
The earliest use case on text is what worked on email. It's like do abandoned carts, send campaigns out, and that's amazing. Yeah. But like we're seeing people get really fun and creative, and the response from their customers is so strong. Where like we've seen it. I saw a brand the other day send a text out, and they treat their text like their VIP list, right? That's how they brand it. And they're like, "Hey fam, like, which of these 4 new flavors gets you most excited?" And they sent a GIF out that like cycled between 4 new flavors of the sodas they make.
Yeah.
And based on all the people who responded, they're now going and creating like the most popular response. And people were freaking out. They're like, "Oh, like cherry looks dope. Like, let's do cherry."
Right.
So like engaging with people, sharing content and marketing to them and like getting their responses, it makes people feel like VIPs in a way that email never did.
Amazing. That's really cool. I love that just like case study that you shared because, you know, a lot of the times, you know, it might be text, somebody might have a sale, or it might be, you know, abandoned cart, or, you know, shipping text that goes out, but really being able to use the channel, right, in that creative way to engage your members or engage your customers is powerful. One thing that I want to touch on really quick, just as far as the e-commerce concept, because you talked about how if people start in this early stages building up their list, they can be ahead of the game later on. Tell me the power of building a list. Why should someone build a list on text message? What advantage does that give them over other customers?
Yeah, so it's a huge advantage because people read every text that gets sent. Mm-hmm. That's where else do we have reach like that as like e-commerce operators? Like email, you know, it's super powerful, but a limited number of people are going to see what you send out, right? It doesn't get 100% open rates. You know, if you think about like the advertising side of things or the influencer side of things, like you can reach a lot of people, but you're paying for like every single ad impression, right? It's not an audience that you own. With text, like email, it's an audience that you own.
Right.
Like you can go and talk to them whenever you want to. You don't have to like bid on Google, right? So once you get that opt-in, it's yours forever until they opt out. But the other thing is just the open rates on it. So it's the only channel out there that you own and that gets pretty close to 100% open rate. So like it's not the channel to send a 10% off code through every single day, right? Email can take that. But when you drop a new product to like the right part of your audience, when you have a really important sale, when you have a piece of content or a message that needs to go out, it's one that's going to get seen. And so in e-commerce, that's really powerful.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. I love that. I love that. You talked about 100% open rate. What are the kind of the average click-through rates that you see?
Anywhere from on the lowest end, we'll see like 5% click-through rates up to like 35%.
Okay.
And I wish I had like exactly one to tell you, but it's the early days. So it varies so much based on what people are sending out.
Right.
And like, if you get an incredibly like well-composed text that's fun. So we work with a lot of t-shirt brands, and like t-shirt brands actually can send more text than many other types of e-commerce because end users, like they want to be alerted for drops, right? Like I want to know when, like for my favorite brand, like a new shirt just dropped.
Right.
And so if on like a drop text see extremely high click-through rates, especially if there isn't an image in there, because it's like you get a text of a plain SMS that's like, "Hey fam, like new product launch today. Check it out.
Yeah.
People are going to click to see what it is.
Yeah.
They're going to end up on your site.
Right. That's solid. I love that. I think that's valuable. So why Shopify, Alex? It looks like Shopify is a platform that you're on. I know majority of my, people who follow, Shopify advocate huge. Why did you chose to focus on that specific platform as opposed to others?
Yeah, to try to be good at it. Like what I've found more and more through making mistakes and messing up is that like the more I focus and try to do like less, the better the result is. And so for us, we focus on Shopify so that we can be really, really good at it. And what that means specifically is that like everyone who works at Postscript, right? Our support team, our customer success team, our sales team, everyone who like helps out with customers, they all know a ton about Shopify and the ecosystem, and they can be that much more helpful because they aren't spread out.
Yeah.
Same with like engineering and like how we build new features. Like all our resources are only going to this one audience, which I think makes us really good at it.
Right.
So like if we also, worked on, Gumroad and Magento and BigCommerce and Ecwid and, maybe we even worked with like, celebrities or influencers, help them some text. Like we would just be diluted. We wouldn't be very good at any of it. Right. So we want to like focus on this community.
I love that, man. I think that focus conversation is something that even crosses over to our t-shirt niche. They always say like riches is in the niches, right? And then I heard you talk about how, your employees and your engineers and everybody, like they can go really far and they know a lot because they just went deep in that area. And it's like they say, it's like instead of going a mile wide and an inch deep, go an inch wide and a mile deep. And that seems like, the whole philosophy behind what you got going on. So, even t-shirt brand owners, everybody watching right now, T-shirt Millionaires, we always talk about focus, like keep it small, keep it simple, engage your audience so you can really grow. You don't have to do a ton of things. And so Alex just spoke that to us on what he's doing in his business. So I love that, bro. So where can they get Postscript? Do they go on the App Store? Do they go to your website? How can they get access to the platform?
They got a bunch of options. So go to postscript.io. They can install. They get a full month free, send unlimited texts, and we'll help you build your list. So even if you have a list, great. If you don't have a list, like the tools inside the product are super easy to use. And our support team is like, we're in live chat. So you don't like send an email off and disappear forever. On the site and in the app, our team is literally there full time to like help y'all out. Amazing. So like you start off with a free month, you will make a bunch of money from like sending texts for free the first month. Right. And there's best practices in the product and we're there to help. So like in the app store is great or on our website, postscript.io.
I love it. So people can go there. Y'all can get a free month to go through, send out text, try it out, and really benefit before you even have to pay a dime. And I think that's another great thing. Now, this is something it just, as you mentioned, your team being available all the time, I gotta ask this, bro. Probably like maybe 6 months ago when I first started, interacting like with customer service. Y'all's customer service got a personality, man.
Yeah.
Is that something? And when I spoke, I reached out to somebody, and I don't know, it was totally different from any other chat that I've ever reached out to. And I was like, but it stood out. And I was like, is that something that is ingrained in the customer service team? Do y'all talk about that? Like, give me an idea about that, because I noticed that a few months ago.
All right. Yeah, you found us out. So okay. This goes back to like just like the stuff we care about.
Yeah.
So when we started Postscript, we set up a thing where we had like live chat on the app and on the website. And whenever someone would chat us in, the three of us, we would get our cell phones would ring. We'd get a call telling us that there was someone chatting, and we would drop whatever we were doing. And we would like log in and go talk to them. Right. We were like building our business and our customers wanted to talk to us. So we'd wake up in the middle of the night. really upset my girlfriend. We would like, I would like leave meetings at my day job. Like it was bad. I'd be like, oh, it's a doctor's call. But we just obsessed about being there live for our customers, not hidden behind an email inbox.
Wow.
But like, and so that was what we did originally. But then as we started building the team, we've just been so lucky to hire we try to hire like really authentic, like good people who are like weirdos and like let their freak flag out and just like, we don't want to hire like corporate drones. We want to hire like fun, real people who care about e-commerce. And they've just taken that and run with it, where like our support team's a little saucy and they like let their actual personality come through just because we think like we work in a space with like fun entrepreneurs.
Right.
And B, like, that's just like better for the world and more fun. Like we want to have the best support in the world and we want them to come off as real people. Cause like we're working with entrepreneurs who are like in the grind and like when they come to us, it's normally because they need something. Right. So like we got to show up. That's like part of the bargain.
I just got to let you know, tell them congratulations and keep up the great work. Cause listen, bro, I look at like, I compare it to when I saw that, like when I go to Chick-fil-A, I always know I get like top-notch service. Always. They say, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, my pleasure, you know what I'm saying? All types of stuff like that. And so when I look at fast food, I'm like, they're the best at what they do as far as customer service. And you're one of the companies that stood out to me because of that great customer service. So keep it up, bro. I love it. I love it. Now tell me this, man. Go ahead. What'd you say?
That means a lot. And I will tell the team. Yeah. And also like, I'm with you on that Chick-fil-A service. It's like, man, you know what you're getting there.
You know what you're getting every single time. So that's great. Now, real quick, before we dive into the nuts and bolts of text, man, you said that when somebody would reach out to y'all, you got a call on your phone and y'all would personally take these calls. I think that's deep. I think that's another level as a founder of any type of business to say, hey, I'm going to get on the phone with the people who are reaching out to my company. How do you feel like that contributed to your growth and your business by having that type of access?
It was the best thing we ever did.
Wow.
So not only did it, because like, especially in the early days when you don't know exactly what you're doing. Yeah. Like we call it product market fit is like, and for you guys in t-shirt world, it's like, are you guys like the right product to like the right audience? Right? Yeah. Like, is there a match there? And it takes a while to find that. Right. And the way we found it is by talking to customers as much as we possibly could, like learning about what their pain points are, learning about what they wanted from the product, learning about what their goals were. And so that was huge. Right. But also it created the effect you're talking about where like people spread the word on Postscript because they have a really good experience with it. Right. And like, they like the team. And so us being really available led to like more growth. It was one of the best things we've ever done. And it's why we invest so much there now. We don't have like an outsourced support team in the Philippines or something. Like it's everyone's like in US, good people, well paid, because like we want to keep investing there because like I think it's important, but also to your point, it's grown our business. Right. And like what the lesson that I would share that I've learned is that like when it comes to support, it really resonates with people if you're a human being and not a robot. Like when I was in e-commerce, we had like robotic support. They would just like answer and be like, here's your tracking link. Here's your tracking link. Like your order's coming in for it, right? They would just like respond. But that's what everyone's used to. So if you like melt their brain by being a human being or by like being like, oh, like if I jump into support today, which I do occasionally, I'll be like, oh, hey, like, sorry, like I'm one of the founders of the business. Like, you're right. That's a bug. Like, I really apologize. Like, we're doing our best over here. You know how it is. Like, here's like 50 like free text credits. I really apologize. People are like, oh yeah, it's like, it's a human being. It's not a support robot. Right. So I really try to lean in there.
That's dope, bro. That's dope. T-shirt brand owners. Hey, get on the phone. Get on the phone. People are reaching out. Talk to them. See what they about. Understand who they are. That might help you come up with new designs and stuff. So that's like, good.
If someone buys, right, if maybe maybe the average buyer for a brand is like picking up like a large like t-shirt. If you see an order come in for like 10, I'd call that customer. I'd be like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, why'd you buy 10? And it's like, oh, he bought this because like he's on a basketball team and like the whole team like wanted this shirt. Like, oh great, I'm now gonna like target like basketball teams and do like bulk orders. Like I made that up. But that's like there's a lot of insights that can come from talking to the people who buy.
Bars. I appreciate that, bro. That's good stuff. Those are gems right there. Okay. All right, man. So listen, let's get into the strategy. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of Postscript, and somebody who downloads it today. They go to the Shopify store today and they download Postscript. What are the first things that they should be doing when they first get the app? How does that work?
So the first thing is they're going to go through the onboarding. And the onboarding, most people want to skip right through it, but it's important for one reason.
Okay.
It's going to ask you to make a few compliance updates.
Yeah.
Because you need to have the right language on your site in order to text people.
Yeah.
It only takes 2 minutes. Everyone should do it. We make it super easy. Right. Don't skip through it. You need that so that like people later can't come and complain to you like, hey, I didn't sign up for this text. Give me $500. Right. Like you want to be buttoned up because texting is regulated and we make it super easy. So you do compliance. The next most important thing by far is list growth. You need to be collecting phone numbers through pop-ups on site. A lot of people want to collect emails as well. They should be collecting both. You can use Postscript's tools to do that. You can use, we integrate with all the pop-up tools within this space. So if you're using a different pop-up you want to keep using, you can use that. It'll dump the phone numbers into the Postscript account too. But everyone should be collecting phone numbers on like mobile and desktop pop-ups. That's just a no-brainer because that's what builds the list and the asset over time. I'm going to give a wrinkle here, a more advanced tip.
Yep.
For mobile traffic, for your mobile site, you don't want the type of pop-up that is a form fill where people type in their phone numbers. You want what's called a one-click opt-in link. People click the link on their phone. It takes them over to their SMS app. It pre-fills an opt-in message and they just hit send. We make that really easy in Postscript. You can use our pop-up tools or you can create those links and embed them in other pop-up tools. But that's how you want to collect phone numbers on mobile. It converts way higher. Some other stuff we see in terms of what pop-ups should be styled. A lot of people do, 5-10% discount code in exchange for signing up. A lot of people also do like a free giveaway. We see higher opt-in rates for a giveaway, but we see those subscribers be like slightly less valuable. So it balances out. That's the most important tip for building your list. But beyond that, there's a few other like nice and easy wins. So one of my favorite ways to build a list is through email. All your emails going out once you start your text program, you should include a tiny little call to action, maybe at the bottom of your emails, like one block, right? If you're using Klaviyo or you're using MailChimp, whatever, it'll be one block. And that'll say, join our VIP list, sign up for text, right? Or like click here to join our VIP list. And how our integrations with Klaviyo and with MailChimp and with all those work is it's only going to show that block to people who aren't opted into your text list yet.
That's crazy, bro. I didn't know that.
Dude, they'll click that. And what I love about this is it's set and forget. Like, your email strategy is going out, this block's just in there, and slowly you'll get people on your email list also opted into your text list. And that's just like passive over time. The months are going by and you're going to pick up hundreds and then thousands of subscribers without like marketing pushes. Right. Just like getting them over from email.
Naturally. That's crazy. So I never knew. I knew that you could put a link, but it's crazy to me how people who are already opted in, you say they don't see that block at all.
Correct.
That's hard. That's fire. That's fire.
There's an article on our site.
Yeah.
With instructions for it. Our support team will share that article with you. It's our Klaviyo integration article. It's our MailChimp integration article. It's a killer way to build a list.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple other ways to build a list, and I'm just gonna like leave this to people to get creative.
Yeah.
On text, you can get people to opt in with keywords, right? Like text Alex to 50505.
Right.
Or you can use those one-click opt-in links, like we were talking about.
Right.
And so we're also seeing people, include those keywords on Instagram, or include the one-click list as a swipe up in Instagram stories.
Right.
We're seeing people do the same thing on TikTok. We're seeing people run ads to those like one-click links. We're also seeing people put inside their packages that go out. We're seeing them print QR codes or keywords, like in every package that goes out, like text Charles to this for a special surprise.
Right.
And like, those are less important ways than the pop-ups in the email, but all those add up too, and they're really good ways to build a list.
That's good, man. Those are good. T-shirt millionaires. Listen, make sure y'all take these tips and these gems that Alex is dropping about how to utilize the platform. It's not just about sending things out, but how do you build that list to be able to send stuff out later on? Yes. And he's given us a few key ways of doing it. Incentives. One thing I wanted to mention too, bro, you talked about so when people have the click link as opposed to putting their phone number in mobile, and having a pop-up that does that. So I know me personally, I have put the link like in the header bar. I've put it like a quick announcement bar up top. And I say, get a sale or get a discount. And so they can click that and it goes over to text. But I don't think I've ever done it for a pop-up. Is that already set up through Postscript, or do you have to use another software? How does that work?
If you want to use, it's already set up in Postscript.
Okay.
So Postscript's mobile pop-ups,
right?
That's how they work.
All right, got it. So you hit it and then boom, it goes over.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. Okay. Should be super easy. Yeah. And the last thing I'll say on like the list growth stuff is that like why I pound the table on it so much is because what we've learned over the last few years is that like it's really what matters. Like you can come in, you can set up an abandoned cart flow, you'll make some money from it. Absolutely. But like when you're dropping a new product or when Black Friday comes around and you can text 100,000 people instead of 5,000,
right?
Like that's the difference.
Right. That's good. That's good. I love it. So those are ways we can build a list. Now, tell me how Postscript and text applies on the checkout process. I know things may have changed over maybe like 6 months or so, but tell me, as people are checking out, what are the parameters and the rules around how you can collect phone numbers there?
So we make it so people don't have to worry about the compliance thing. We just like do this for them at checkout. So there's good news and bad news here. If you're running your business on Shopify Plus, which is like the enterprise grade thing, when you onboard to Postscript, you'll get instructions for how to add an opt-in link, opt-in box at checkout. It's in the onboarding, nice and easy, and new subscribers will come in from there. If you're on regular Shopify, they recently we had to get rid of the ability to collect opt-ins. That came from the telephone carriers. So Verizon and T-Mobile, the people who actually deliver all these messages, they said this is not allowed anymore. And if we catch anyone doing it, we will shut down their entire messaging program.
Oh, wow. That's deep.
It's deep. The good news is, actually, we've been working with Shopify. And in the next month, we're going to have a live solution again so that is approved by the telephone carriers, so that about a month from now, anyone using Postscript is going to be able to collect subscribers at checkout. So we're coming back to the new there, and that'll be fixed soon.
That's okay. That's great. That's another great way to do it, because if somebody doesn't opt in earlier, if they get to that filling out their information, boom, they have that number that they can follow up with. Now, I know that there's like automations and things that you have. I know you can do like an abandoned cart. Do you recommend using automations? Sometimes I've wondered, like, even for certain automations, is it too annoying? I know you talked about not being invasive and different things earlier, but tell me about the best practices around automations when it comes to your text message marketing.
Totally. So it's funny. We see automations have the lowest unsubscribe rates of anything. Automations are the place where you won't make the most money from them, but you'll make the like most profitable dollars from them. They like perform really well. So best practice suite, absolutely having an abandoned cart flow, having a welcome series for all new subscribers. On welcome series, what works best isn't just like, here's the 10% off code, go buy. You want to have a couple messages in there. You want to like teach them about the brand. You want to let them know what you're going to be texting them about. You want to include some cool creative. Maybe you want to like help them, like give them some recommendations on like the most popular products, right? It can be multiple messages. After those two, which are the most basic, then we get a little bit more advanced and it starts to vary by brand. What we see is people who do non-marketing automations get really high engagement, sending out tracking links, sending a text when people's packages are delivered. That's something really cool where it's like, hey fam, package is on your door, enjoy, reply here if you have any problems. Like that's a non-marketing message. And when consumers get those, they really like them. It's like, oh, my package is here, amazing. And they remember the brand. And oftentimes they'll like go shop again because you just sent them a text.
Yeah.
So I recommend non-marketing messages. But then the other thing, and this is a little bit more complex, and this is where the more advanced SMS marketers are making a lot of their money, is by creating like life cycle flows is really what they're called. So like you have welcomes, you have abandons, that's cool. But then advanced Postscript users are creating tons of automations based off what people bought, upselling them later to something else. So like whatever your hero SKU is, whatever like your most popular products are, it's really easy in Postscript to create an automation to filter just for people who bought that. And then, you know, whatever you think, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months later, a week later, come back to them with another couple texts and trying to get them to convert to buy an additional product or something similar or something related, something that you all know tends to sell well together. And once they buy it, you have the flow turn off and stop. People are making a lot of money through upsell flows.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like a huge recommendation I would give.
So you said about 4 or 5 weeks out, have that type of flow. Is anybody building any automations or flows later than that? Like way out, like months out, or like win back campaigns? Like, how far have you seen it go?
People, I mean, I've seen people run like 6 months of automation flows. And like, to be fair though, like they're not all marketing, right? They'll like try to tell a story over the course of 6 months. That's like good. They'll, you know, someone will buy and then they'll do some brand introduction and then they'll like share some fun content and then they'll like push for a sale. So we've seen some really, really long automation flows. And I would just recommend that people have them turn off once the user buys.
Nice. I love it. Well, no, I think that's solid. And you know, T-shirt Millionaires, I think one of the big things I'm hearing from Alex is, you know, it's really about the engagement. Everything isn't about a sale. You know, it's about giving, you know, sharing value. And then every now and then in between messages, hit them with a sale or paste the link, you know, so you're doing different things to keep them engaged. So I think that's extremely powerful, brother.
Yeah.
Tell me this. When it comes to text, because this is something I've thought about in the past before, I'm like, is my text too long? Should I break it out? Do I add emojis? When it comes to like format of text, what do you know what I'm saying? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So my thoughts are have fun. Like there, you know, we see like plain SMS, right? No emojis, no images, like those can do really well. And we also see when people drop a great GIF or a great like fun image and a bunch of emojis in there, that crushes. In general, what I think is like people being creative do really, really well. I've seen some humongous text go out, right? And people are smart about putting spaces in there and emojis and stuff, breaking it up, but they're like telling a story. Right. And that gets huge engagement. It's not just like buy here, new sale. Like being creative with the format is what wins, no matter what form that takes.
That's good. That's good. So go in there, have fun, try stuff out. I think that's valuable. Now, one thing, brother, as I'm looking, right, I went over to, you know, Postscript, you know, your website, and I wanted to look at, you know, case studies, like, you know, what has been done. And so I see $60,000 in revenue in 30 days. I see SMS funnel leads, 13,000 purchases for MCTO code. Like, you know, you got a lot of different, you know, case studies in here that seem to be successful. I wanted to ask you, like, what is one of the best case studies or stories that, you know, one of your customers has used Postscript and gotten some results from? I'm sure it's a lot, right? I'm sure there's a lot of things that come up.
That's a great question. I feel like I should have an answer for things.
Oh, good. You give you some time to think about it.
Yeah. Okay, so what's one of my favorites?
I won't put you on the spot. If this, we'll move on. If there's something else that comes up, we can come back to it. Just be like, Charles, I got one.
It'll bubble up. It'll bubble up.
Oh, good. No, I love it, man. So you say what are some of the other? I know you mentioned that you do integrate with some other platforms, but you know, which platforms are there? I know you talked about Klaviyo, but what other softwares or apps do you integrate with?
Yeah. There's a bunch. I think there's close to like 40 right now.
Good.
So we're always adding more, and we're focused on Shopify. So it's like a lot of the tools that you all use, right?
Yeah.
Everything from like Wheelio to Klaviyo to Gorgeous, the support help desk gets used a ton. If any subscription brands are out there, we integrate with Recharge. We do a lot of really cool stuff with Recharge. So those are some big ones. Privy, Just Uno. Wise Pops, the pop-up tools as well get used a lot.
That's good. What do you do at Recharge? Because you know, I think that this is something that more of the t-shirt brand owners definitely need to get into as far as subscription or recurring revenue. It's a big part of the business. And so how does Postscript play a part with Recharge? How does that all work?
All right. So the integration with Recharge is like the coolest thing that Postscript does.
Okay.
It lets people manage their subscriptions just via text. So, you know, you can do recharge abandoned carts, whatever, all the normal stuff. But then a text can go out, says, hey, Alex, your monthly order of shaving cream. No, let's do something more fun. Your weekly order of donuts ships tomorrow. Reply skip if you want to skip this week. Right. Maybe I'm out of town. I reply skip, and automatically the order gets pushed out. Right. And the user doesn't have to do anything else. And why that's important is because the biggest reason people churn off subscriptions is because they have too much. Right. So that's an awesome way to prevent churn. Another thing it does is you can add products to your order. So it's hey, Alex, your weekly donut order is shipping out. Do you want to add our 5 new flavors for $10? Reply yes. People just text back yes. Their card gets charged. Their order gets updated. So with Recharge, people can actually interact and manage their subscription over text, which is super cool and seamless and easy.
I love that. I mean, I think it's a great way to extend that, you know, lifetime value as well. And just the ease of it, being able to text and then it adds it in, I think that's dope. And, you know, that's something that I definitely want to, you know, explore going forward. So really cool, man. So tell me this, bro, how does Postscript compare to other text message companies out there? What do you feel like is the competitive advantage that you have over others?
Yeah. So there's a few. There's some good text message tools out there, and I'm not going to badmouth them.
Right.
Well, there's some good ones, and there's some really, really bad ones. But there are some other good ones other than Postscript. I will admit it.
Right.
And a lot of our functionality is the same, but there's a couple of big differences. The first is the approach. So we believe that people need to take a more conversational approach. They have to have two-way messaging. They need to take a targeted approach to text with automations and flows and stuff. And what we see is that most competitors, they really put an emphasis on just sending campaigns to your whole list 2 or 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week. And the reason they do that is because it helps their revenue. They make more money when brands take that approach of just maximum sending all the time. But what our data shows us is that it's not good for the brands. You drive tons of unsubscribes, your performance over time decreases, and you're wasting money sending text to people who you don't have to by being more targeted.
Right.
So we want this way more targeted approach. And that difference of approach, you see it in our product. You see it in the way data works, where we integrate with all your historical Shopify data that no one else does, so that you can filter and segment and target really, really easily off what people have bought before. Right. And then you also see it in our team, talking about focus, where our team only does this one thing. And so we go really deep on it. And that's we were talking about that earlier, but that's another big difference is approach, team, and then data.
Good. I love it. You just mentioned something about segmentation. So
Yes.
what would be your maybe top ways to segment your audience within Postscript? And you send different things to different people. How would you tell somebody to approach segmentation?
Yeah. So this varies for every business. I gotta say that.
Yeah.
Like there are some t-shirt brands who don't segment as much that do really well with that because they're mostly sending out drop alerts.
Okay.
So like they're like, everyone on my list wants to see the drop. So I get that. But here's the framework that I talk about. I say, is this worthy of a text?
Yeah.
It's very simple. And we all know what that means, right? Are you spamming or is this worthy of sending a text for?
Yeah.
So on segmentation, it's super important. You should be doing it in campaigns. You should be doing it in automations, right? People should absolutely be sending full list messages out, but like that should not be the default. You want to be targeted because that's how it's going to be most profitable for you and how you're going to spend as little as possible on Postscript. Honestly, it's like, you have a new drop. Like, are you sending it to everyone or are you sending it to people who bought similar products before? Or maybe you have like a big sale, right? That's probably worth like making everyone aware of. You're doing an upsell text. Are you sending it to everyone or are you sending it just to people it's relevant to based on what they bought before? That sort of thinking and getting in that habit, it'll save everyone money and it'll keep their dollars as profitable as possible.
Got it. That's really good. So T-shirt millionaires, look at that. Look at those different things. What people have bought in the past. If you got something maybe in a similar collection, send it out to that group of people, right? But there's ways to be able to save some money, but then also make your text messages more effective as well. So you said we're in the early stages of this, bro. Like it's still brand new. I heard you talk about like maybe 10, 15 years out. Like that's where it's going to still be mainstream. Or it'll be mainstream. Like, what do you see? Like, how do you see this text message thing developing? Do you see, this is what I want to know, do you see text turning into what email has turned into now? Like, as far as being bombarded with brands all over the place, like, what do you see, in the future for text?
So this is a great question. I see text becoming mainstream as a marketing channel.
Right.
I also see consumers having way less tolerance for it than they do email. They're going to subscribe to 10, 15 brands. They're going to unsubscribe if you spam them. There's that difference. Between that and all the regulations, it's so much more regulated than email.
Yeah.
I think that we'll see less noise than we do with email. But every marketing channel gets crazy in the long term, right? Like Facebook was not many people were on Facebook. Now everyone advertises on Facebook, and like not many people are sending email. Now everyone does. So in the long term, everyone will be sending text, but I think that Apple will create a priority inbox over time, like all that stuff. I think we'll see a similar arc.
Okay, cool. All right, perfect. Well, listen, bro, this was amazing, man. I think that you gave us so much value. I know the audience, some of them already use it. Some of them may have been on the cusp of trying to figure out. But I think that you have given some valuable gems where they can go in, start implementing some stuff, and try to run their sales up. So if people want to get in contact with your team or interact, like where can they find you? Are you on Instagram? Like where can they find you and the team at?
Yeah. So I'm a Twitter hound.
Okay.
I'm on Twitter at Ring My Beller.
Yeah.
Also, email anytime, alex@postscript.io. I'm super available. I love talking to customers. And if you ever come into chat and you ask for me, maybe someone will be able to grab me and I'll come help out there too. But I'm available. Charles, dude, thank you for having me. And also thanks for all you do supporting this community. It's super cool to see.
Absolutely. Well, no, I'm extremely grateful. Thank you so much, bro. And it's been valuable. I know that you got to run, but many, many blessings to you. We'll be in touch, family, and be blessed. Keep doing your thing over there in Postscript, man.
Thank you, sir. Take care, everyone.
All right. No problem. Talk soon. All right. And another one. There he goes. Hey, man, that was a great conversation. Let me pick up my pen. I dropped my pen on the floor, but that was an amazing conversation with Alex. Found it so valuable. I think there's a lot of value being able to understand really the backstory of the creator of the company, but then also at the same time, with him being a co-founder and the president, knowing everything that goes on. I know he sees a lot of data, and really to be able to grasp those best practices that can be used to help amplify your business. So y'all know how I do it. I got millionaire notes taken. You know what I'm saying? I'm constantly over here writing. Southpaw over here writing throughout the thing. So let's go ahead and cover the top spots. All right. So first off, my guy said he left college. He said that it didn't fit him. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't for him. He ended up leaving. He ended up working for a company called Stack Social. And basically, they would start partnering with some of these blogs out here and building e-com channels for them. Now, I really want to just go back and hit on that part really quick because I think that's valuable. I think that is where it's at. When we spoke with the creator of Supermom, Trina, she spoke about it. That's one of the examples that come to mind. She started her brand with a blog. She built her audience. She already created content that audience consumed. She wasn't even thinking about t-shirts at one point in time. After that, she started selling Supermom shirts to that audience, and things started to grow from there. And that's what he was doing at Stack Social. And so I think it all goes back to y'all, like, how are we building these audiences? How are we curating it or creating content that they're interested in? And then we put the products there, right? How can you turn your brand into somewhat of like a media company to where you can attract people with content and then sell to them afterwards, right? So always be thinking about that. Basically, him and his partners, they came through. They started, creating the app. It was a very, like MVP. That's kind of like what I heard. Minimum viable product at the very beginning. Didn't really know anything about it. But one great thing that I love that Alex talked about, and he was transparent about, is at the very beginning stages, they put it out there. 1 week they had 4, 1 week they had 10, 1 week they had more people. And it turned into an idea where he was just like, wow, like we weren't even expecting this, right? It turned bigger than what they expected. Don't despise small beginnings. For all of y'all who maybe you're getting your first sale, your second sale, your 20th sale, whatever it is, things can grow from there. That's the first thing. The next thing he said is things are going to be broken at every single level. I'm sure that Alex has interacted with several entrepreneurs in a lot of different spaces, a lot of different niches, probably big companies, tech companies, clothing companies, all types of different things. And one thing that he said that he has seen across the board is the fact that everybody seems like everybody has their own set of problems, put it that way. And so whatever you got going on in your business, continue to push forward, continue to persevere, continue to grow from there. All right. You're not going to get to a level to be like, it's just all going to be done and over with and everything goes away and it's smooth all the time. You got to continue working through that. This entrepreneur thing, this business thing is a lifetime journey. So I thought that was extremely valuable. They noticed the problem in the market and they noticed that email was going down. I think he said that email may have been around for about 25 years. Noticed that open rates were going down, click rates were going down, and they wanted to build their solution. All right. Now, when it comes down to text message, we got like 100% open rate, 90, 100% open rate. All right. When it comes to click-through rate, we have about 5 to 35% click-through rate. When we look at email, on average, you might average somewhere between 18 to 20% open rate. Click-through rate for email, you might average somewhere 1, 2, 3%, 5%, something like that. So you can tell the big difference of if you send out a text, at least you're going to have majority of your people who receive it, they're going to open it. They're going to see it. Email, we have to deal with spam and all those different things like that. So that's one of the major differences, okay? The next thing is this was another powerful gem that I appreciate Alex sharing. I asked him, why is he only on Shopify? Alex talked about they wanted to do Shopify so they could be really good at it. So they could really focus and be good at that. There's a lot of people that are watching this show and is going to see this interview, and you are all spread all over the place. You serving this niche and this niche and this niche, and you got all these different products, and you haven't even honed in on the ones that can really do great for you. There's room to be able to grow and expand. There is room for that. But sometimes the lack of growth may be because you're just spread too wide. You spread too thin, right? They could focus on Wix and BigCommerce and all these different things, but it's about being focused and being strategic and being niche down. Niches, riches in the niches. All right. So there's a quote. Let me make sure I got the quote right. There's a quote. I think it says like, a man that chases two rabbits catches none. A man that chases two rabbits catches none. We'll go ahead and we'll move on for that. If you caught it, you caught it. If you didn't, then all right. All right, family. So the next thing is when it comes to Postscript, all right, when it comes to Postscript, you get a free month and you can use it for 30 days. I would highly recommend it. That's what I did when I use it for 30 months and I try to run it up as much as possible. So there's an opportunity for you to go ahead and use it. Number two, he gave us some best practices about building the list. He said, first, go through. They give you all the information, all the compliance stuff, and it's super easy. If you haven't used it before, extremely easy. But go through and start building your list. All right, go through and start building your list. Now, he gave us some great ways. He said, number one, when it comes to mobile traffic, he said, don't use the pop-up to where somebody has to enter in their phone number. Use the pop-up to where they can click the button. And then when they click that button, it goes over and there's an automated text that pops up in the text. You send the text. And once that text is sent, then you're subscribed to the list. And it makes it a lot easier. So start building your list that way. Another great way that I was shocked when he ended up talking about it on the interview was on your email, you can put a link in the block and it automatically just stays there. So whether it's a campaign, whether it's a flow that you use in your email that's automated, it doesn't matter. Put that at the very bottom. The people who have not opted in, they will not see that block. The people who have, they'll see it. And that's a way to just automatically get people to click and opt into that text message list. So I thought that was really good. We also talked about incentives, and we talked about things to do to be able to incentivize people to get on your list. Percentage off, giveaways. What are the things that you're giving in value in return for that specific phone number? All right. So just think about what you want to give away in the value. All right. The next thing is we talked about automations. All right. We talked about automations, and basically with the automations, we spoke about abandoning carts. But one thing that he really talked about was sending out those text messages and having those automations on that really build that relationship. You know, he gave an example of somebody, they had like a GIF or a GIF, or I forget how you say it, GIF, whatever it is. And the colors would go, it's like, which one do you want? And people would reply to that. And then they could use those responses as an automatic reply later on. Super powerful. Telling a story. He said that we need to make sure we have that welcome series on. When somebody first gets on the list, have some type of welcome series, right? And being able to build that relationship over time. He spoke about how the automations may not bring in the most money as far as revenue and volume, but the automations are the most profitable. All right. And so go in, set up some of your automations. He also talked about the people who are really winning and doing great with SMS. They build automations to upsell later on. So it might be based on a product that somebody bought in the past. They can go ahead, get it a little bit later on, send out an email, send out a text, and upsell them 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks down the line. And that's a way to get them to come back. Extremely powerful, extremely powerful. All right. We also spoke about integrations. So they integrate with a lot of apps in Shopify. I know for sure they integrate with Klaviyo. One of the ways that I've used them personally on Klaviyo is I've created segments, like specific segments in Klaviyo. So it might be a segment somebody who has refunded, right? Maybe the people who have refunded, I've refunded before. I don't want to send them a text. Or maybe people who haven't bought in a certain period of time, put them in a segment, and those segments can push over to Postscript, right? And you can send your text out to different people in the list. So there's a ways that you can be able to segment your audience. It might be your highest buyers, right? You might have something new coming out, people who have spent a certain dollar amount. You might segment them that way, right? There's different things that you can do, but make sure you segment your list. One thing that he talked about is the recharge. I think that this is something that I'm gonna be exploring, because I do it on the digital side, but I don't do it much on the e-commerce side. And it's really a fact of business. You spend money, you have sunk costs maybe, or you might get people at a profit too, but you have people who have come in and you sell to them one time. But we always talk about, y'all, this is e-commerce or any business, it don't matter. What is the lifetime value? So I think one of the big things in our space is going to be like, how can we resell on a recurring basis to our customers? What things can we really put in place? And that's one of the things with recharge. And I really like how he talked about the seamless integration, but then also how somebody can easily text and say they want something else and it automatically adds it to the cart. I think that those are really powerful things. So that's something I'm definitely going to be paying attention to. One thing that he talked about is we're in the early stages of text message marketing. So you really should be focusing on building your list right now. Focus on building your list, because you'll be way ahead of the game as it becomes more mainstream. One thing that he talked about too, though, is the tolerance of people. So, everybody is not going to be staying with a specific brand on their text message list if they're not really rocking like that. You know what I'm saying? He talked about, you might have 10 brands that you really, really love and you want to receive text, but why would they stay? It's because you're doing it the right way. You're not only trying to sell, you're not blowing them up all the time. You're adding value. You're fulfilling on what people order. You're doing these different things that really help you benefit. So I think that is really powerful as well. It's going to be a growing channel. And look, man, I think those are all my cliff notes, or my millionaire notes per se. I think that everybody, if you don't have Postscript right now and you have Shopify, go get Postscript, man. Go check it out. You have nothing to lose. You got 30 days to try it out. I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised, especially if you have a customer base, right? But send out some text. It's not going to cost you anything. And then from there, you can decide if you want to keep moving forward. But it's a great way to be able to get back in front of your customers or your prospects, your customers or your leads. And we live in a powerful age, man. E-commerce, digital marketing, text message marketing, extremely powerful to grow your t-shirt business. So with that being said, y'all, I'm going to stop rambling. I hope that y'all found a whole lot of value from what Alex shared with us today. I know that I did. It was a great pleasure being able to speak to him and get some insight. For those who are in the inner circle, much appreciation to y'all. We ended up having a call today. We spoke about print on demand. And if you're interested in getting in a group of hungry t-shirtpreneurs who come together and do different things, we're just ending. We're at the very tail end of our first month of the inner circle, and we've had some amazing things. We have had Justin from Support Black Colleges come speak to us. We've had Ari, which is one of our T-shirt Millionaires mentors. Shout out to her, Tees of Life, and then T-shirt Life with Ari. She came to talk with us about marketing. We had a full collaboration session earlier this week where we broke out in many rooms, and all T-shirt brand owners were able to speak to each other about what they have going on in their business and get direct feedback. We had our first episode of Who Wants to Be a T-shirt Millionaire. Those contestants came from the inner circle. We did our community giving this month, or last month. We ended up giving to missing kids. We're going to choose the next community organization that we're going to give to this month. And we got some great stuff coming up next month. So listen, if you're interested in coming in the inner circle, you have a 7-day free trial, just like Postscript. There's nothing to lose. Come check it out. Come to our meetings. Go in the learning portal. Look at all the replays. And I know that you'll find a lot of value. And if you love it, come stay with us. If you don't, cancel it. It's easy as that. And we can part ways. There's no harm, no foul. So I appreciate y'all, T-shirt millionaires. Thank y'all so much for the support, for watching this show, for sharing it. Send this to your mama, your grandmama, another shirtpreneur. Put this in a Facebook group. Send out an email and let people know about this content. I'll continue doing everything that I possibly can to connect and bring the best people on this show. And with that being said, I'm going to end it how I always end it. You can see it in your mind's eye. One day, you're going to be able to see it with your real eyes. I appreciate you, T-shirt millionaires. See y'all on the next episode.